stream. We're not doing the telethon.
Trendsetter, yeah. Hey everybody, Professor Rogue. We are live rock and rolling with PeekDatChu this Thursday night. And it's not going to be a late one tonight, but we wanted to get together and chat with you guys and chat together. So you want to go ahead and say hi, PeekDatChu?
Yeah, sure thing. How's it going? PeekDatChu. You guys have seen me in comment sections, I'm sure. I talked to a good amount of people in the hobby for a long time now. So not a YouTube content creator, just primarily someone who's really, really engaged in the hobby, just on really the social media platform. You'll see me on Instagram, you'll see me on YouTube, just in the comments primarily, but buy, sell, collect. That's primarily it. You've probably seen me, if you watch this channel, jump in one stream, I think, with you. I kind of crashed him a basic stream, and yeah, just really excited to talk some cards and just have a good time. So thanks for having me on, man.
Yeah, I was excited to get you on. I remember watching not too long ago your stream with Old Card Shop. You had Basic on there with you too. That was a fun one. I learned a lot, about both of you. Basic just jumped on.
Always, man. That's my other guy.
This guy.
Is that a sticker?
My new stickers. I love it.
I love it. Just start slapping those around random places that you travel.
Oh,
that'd be great.
These are limited edition, man. I only got a dozen. These are like numbered.
Top 12.
Yeah, for real. Yeah, so thank you, Basic, for that on 100. I did just hit 100 like 2 hours ago, like pretty recently. So
good for you, man. So deserved. You've been having some killer guests, man. That Green Show stream last night was awesome.
Thank you. Yeah, it was fun. I was really glad to get him on. I'm just excited to talk to anyone in the hobby right now at the moment, but obviously he's like pretty big part of the community. So one that I watch all his videos. I was really excited to see him on there. So yeah, it's been fun.
We talked a bit after your stream, and I was cracking up at some of the one-liners he was throwing during that. It was cracking me up, man. He's a funny dude. I really enjoyed his unique wall behind him with all the random stuff. And I was in and out of the stream, obviously a little bit, but yeah, just the stuff that he had was really, really cool. I really enjoyed it.
Keeps it real. Like he's the guy. Yeah, I don't feel like there's any shiz going on there, despite the name. Yeah, it's awesome. I did want to talk to you about Japanese cards, because I've got a few behind me. There's some going on, but you've got some real Japanese cards. So why? Like, what's the love there?
It's the thing is with Japanese cards is they give us what English don't, which is exclusivity. That's the big thing that I wish that the English side of the hobby would understand when it comes to exclusive promos or event promos. I mean, we have a handful. We have like some of the Black Star promos from, for anybody who played in like the leagues and stuff back in the day, like everybody knows those cards. But I mean, Japan, they've got the play promos, they've got Battle Road, they've got Spring Battle Road, they've got, obviously the trophies that are out there, which we have a lot more of those in English now, but it's just the exclusive, unique art. And specifically, and this is something anybody who has talked to me within the hobby probably has heard me say this more than once. They have such cool stories on how to acquire them. It's not just ripping a pack. Right. It's not just, I found this booster box for retail miraculously and I pulled the reverse hollow, whatever, I always talk about like the 97, 98, 99 ANA promos, the 97 JR Stamp Rally promos, like just, you had to go do stuff. And, this is kind of probably the curse of me and being a crotchety old dude, like who grew up in the 90s at this point. It's like, I liked when people had to go and do things to get these cards, and Japanese cards specifically. That's what vintage Japanese is. And it's exciting for me. So that's really the main thing. As far as it just being in the different language, doesn't really make a big deal to me. When I was 8, 9, 10, I thought it was the most exotic pickup ever. I think Basic Trader even talked about, I talked about that. Yeah, it's just like, oh my gosh, this is from somewhere else, like across oceans. And, this is this is when Amazon was still like, doing books at this point. So it wasn't normal for you. yeah, it wasn't normal for you just to be able to pull up something, get something from Japan in 4 or 5 days. It's so yeah, that's really the main thing. And I actually looked, I want to say it was maybe a week or two ago, and I was counting through my slabs that I just had in my closet, and I was like, man, literally like 9 out of 10 of these are Japanese, and it wasn't even on purpose. It was just like, oh, this is what I buy. This is what I'm attracted to. So, yeah, I'd say pretty much for all those reasons, man. Those are. I mean, they're just the coolest story behind cards ever, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I think it sounds simple, but it really isn't. There's such a deeper level to it when you're just talking about the artwork. Because when I'm thinking back to, I know you've talked before, and I remember you seeing with showing pictures with the 98 birthday Pikachu from Japan. You've got that one, right?
Yeah, that was
the OG.
Yeah, I had one when I was that one was actually for if it was the PSA slab, I had that when I was a kid. My dad was a very like internet forward thinking guy back in the day. Like, so I used to do my dad's been a classic car collector for like 30 something years. Like I grew up driving some of the coolest, like learning how to drive, which brave on him, like some of the coolest things ever, like 68 fastbacks, like 69 Chargers. Like that was the most fun ever. But he's always list things on like eBay Motors. So like my original eBay account, which I don't even think I know the password to, it was under my like old AOL email address, is probably like 20 years old. But I used to go on there and list stuff for him. Like he would pay me like $10 for every car that sold for whatever amount of money, which, I was kind of getting hosed, but at that point I was like 9-10 years old. Didn't have my grind in me back then. But the big thing is I remember it was like my 8th birthday or something. I asked my mom and dad to buy me that birthday Pikachu card. And I don't know how familiar you are with like the story back then, but everybody thought it was like so much more limited and rare than what it actually was. Yeah. But they bought it for me for like $40. And I think I told the story maybe, but yeah, anyway, sent it back. First card I graded, or one of 2 first cards I graded, it came back at 10. So that was my PSA 10 copy. And then I'd recently, just as of a few days ago, bought a CGC. I can't remember if it's a 9 or 9.5 of that same Pikachu, but yeah, that's a prime example, man. Like super cool art. I'm so glad they brought it back. Gorgeous. In celebrations. Like I am envious of people who opened celebrations and got that card and got to look at it for the first time. Like that's so cool to me.
So I don't know if you remember me saying in one of the live streams, but I got the lottery for the Bidoof, the special delivery Bidoof, and that's an exclusive English, But when you're looking at like a birthday picture, or like those other artworks you were talking about from early on, or even some more recent ones, just some current ones that are modern, have gorgeous Japanese artwork in there. You look at those, and then you look at the very simplistic, like special Bidoof card. How the heck that sold for $700 in a PSA 10 when I sold that? Like, is very confusing to me. The
English exclusive. It's such not that the card is a rarity. I mean, I'm sure it was. I saw that. I never understood why, something that you could pick up by just spending $25 and they mail it to you was going to be $700. I mean, I can't remember what the that one was top price was. Yeah,
that was free. I didn't even
free with your 25 or free. Wasn't it like you had to buy $25 worth of stuff and they threw it in for free or something? I think.
Yeah, it was like, I forget what it was, like $20-$25 or something. So free, but you had to spend money to get it. I have a real hard time with that because I've been looking at a lot of Pikachu promos. I think me and you have got a lot of similar interests. Like obviously the World promo binder right there. Like you've mentioned that before. You posted about it. I seem to remember that. That was the first big ask I asked from my parents when I was a kid. That was the first thing when that came out, and I didn't. I never opened it. It was amazing. But I think there's a lot to it with the art that it really is underestimated. And the Japanese aspect of it, I don't know if it's the language or the maybe intimidation from people that aren't like super confident in what they're doing. They just, tinker around a little bit with Pokemon cards. But I love Japanese cards. Like, I'd love to get more into them. I've seen a lot of really cool Pikachu cards once I started digging. I didn't realize how many they had made in Japan.
Being
So
a
different.
Pikachu only collector, not saying you are, but if you are a Pikachu only collector and that's your goal, that is probably more difficult than getting like every card in the hobby. Like I can't even imagine. I mean, and somebody may know in the stream, but the amount of Pikachu promos they have or Pikachu cards in general is nuts. But yeah, I don't know. I think that
just in the set registry, just for the ones that PSA chose for the master set, there's 700, 687. So if that's like the narrowed down collection version of it, there's got to be a couple of thousand. I mean, it's got to be in
easy.
4 digits. Yeah, easy.
Yeah, it's I think that people just really, and I've heard this before, is people just like to read what their cards say. I don't understand it. I don't buy it to read that. I couldn't tell you how many cards I've had. I have not read the text on. The only thing I will read, I'll read the description of the Pokemon. That's about as far as I'll go. But as far as like the attack and everything, since I don't use them to play, I'm not. It doesn't bother me, you know. And plus, being it would be one thing if Pokemon originated in America, but since it originated in Japan, right. it's like that's the original, you know. I mean, that's what it is. So, yeah, just that, and you hit the nail on the head. I mean, it's just the artwork on some of these things, and the Japanese play promos specifically have some of the coolest artwork ever. And again, a very cool story. You had to compete. They're basically like mini worlds cards. Like it's like you want to. I forget what Battle Road and the play promos are, but I think they have like specific leagues. You earn points for them, so you have to play and battle people. And once you've accumulated enough points, you get these cards. So that's why like the highest price ones are going to be the ones that take like a bazillion points, to get. So for example, the 7,000 point Mew, I think I read that you got 30 points per win. So you can kind of do that math and imagine how many games you have to play to get them. So
yeah.
Wow. And it doesn't help that the artwork on it is just super, super cool. Like one of the best artworks of Mew, if not the best artwork in Mew, in my opinion. But
do you ever wonder like printing levels on that stuff? Like how many were printed? Because like with a base card, obviously there's a bajillion printed of them, but those like it's got to be a more specific number, surely.
It's hard to really, and I think we talked a little bit about this. It's hard to trust the pop reports to really define that. But my thought is for it. Excuse me. It's basically time stamped by the tournaments or the timing of the event, and that's what I think is really nice. Is because you're not going to get a reprinted card from a tournament. You're not going to get a reprinted card from a specific campaign. So, for example, like I picked up that Toyota promo, Toyota Pikachu promo. 2 months out of 1997, you went to Toyota dealerships. That's when you got it. So like, they're not going to create a Toyota promo. They're not going to reprint that, and I don't know what the number is. I'm not saying it's rare. They could have, hundreds of thousands for all I know, but it's guaranteed to be less than like a traditional pull it from a pack because you're not sitting at the retail stores. You're going to this one place. It's a lot more than what I think the pop reports show. And, you can always count on there's a ton of extra copies with it. But yeah, I mean, they're always going to be more limited. I mean, that's having something more limited and hard to get is is part of what got me into this level of the hobby, honestly, because when I first started, I was like, oh, I'll just buy the stuff I looked at online as a kid. And then I was like, well, that was easy to get. Like, I need something that I need to challenge myself. Like, what's something that people just can't find? And how can I find it? Oh, I have to engage in the hobby. I have to do these private sales. I have to find people who actually are willing to sell. I have to, I can't just be a random person who knocks on your door and says, hey, can I buy your extremely limited card? I'm a nobody. I don't engage. Nobody's going to do that. So that was really a big driving force for finding those, specifically.
Yeah, and like you say, the artwork, some of them are fun and beautiful and amazing, but also, like you say, that's just like that's the only place you're ever going to get it. Like it really is so specific. And I know that some people like the trophies that that kind of stuff because it's so specific. Very similar thought process. That intrigues me for sure. I just haven't dived deep enough into it, I guess. You've obviously got a little more like very early on. Obviously, I got the promo collection, but like very early on thought process. And I remember you saying at one point about you were sleeving everything and throwing it in your binder. You didn't play with anything. I was exactly the same. Like
we were those weird OCD kids, man.
Oh my
God.
God.
Sure, some of my cards got beat up, but even like now, like I still have maybe, I don't know, 10 of my old like actual collection from a kid. And I found a couple that had creases in them. I'm like, who did that? Like I couldn't even wrap my brain around like me doing it, and I have a twin brother. So like we would,
Trades.
share cards. Yeah. So I'm sure we played with them, but like if I got something that was like a hollow, it was sleeved in the binder.
No. Yeah, no way.
Barely looked at it. Yeah. Showed all my friends at school. Our school banned Pokemon cards when I was a kid because people kept bringing them. It was like a whole thing. But,
I remember showing some of my binder ones, and they were holding, and I like felt nervous that they were holding the binder. Like they weren't even touching the cards; they were in the sleeve plastic, 9-card things, and I still felt a little nervous. I was like so protective over them. Yeah, it's probably not healthy, but I was like so into Pokemon. I was just
I would say people who have done pretty well with it, if it wasn't healthy, it paid off in the long term. But that's one of the things I completely agree. If I get something that I'm really into, and especially a collectible, because it's such a, time is its worst enemy, but that can be expedited by people by touching it, moving it, doing things like it. I mean, even the majority of the cards I keep, here, I mean, they literally just sit in my closet, like on a shelf. I'm not one of those that, I'll occasionally go in there and just be like, oh, I want to look at this art today. But like most of the time, even if they're in a slab, like I'm just like, they're there. I have them. That's all I need to know. And I just feel good about it. And I think I don't think I've been any different since I was a kid. It sounds like you're almost, very similar to that. But
yeah, I think we've got a lot of similarities going on. Did you, I'm curious if with that thought process, obviously we're talking about cards, did you grab any packs or boxes and like keep it sealed? I mean, obviously you had the promo collection, but did you have anything else where you were like, didn't want to open it?
As a kid or now?
As a kid, like
because no, I had not even
no same.
Like, always open
no
it. No, my parents buy me packs. I'm like, of course I'm going to take advantage of this, And I had a really lucky streak one time. It was when Team Rocket was out, and if anybody's in, I don't know if they were just Southern, but there was a place that was called Hastings. So Toys R Us went out of business or stopped doing whatever, and we went to this other place called Hastings. But I remember my mom bought me 3 Team Rocket packs. My first one, Shining Gyarados. Actually, they were first edition because that Shining Gyarados is one I pulled from a pack. I remember that now. Second pack, Shining Magikarp. Out of those 3, and I was just like
what
you watch pack breakers, and they're like, the shit. I was definitely that. I was like, and I remember a kid, I didn't know him. He was just some random guy that was there. He was just like, whoa, and that I was hooked. I was like, I'm opening everything. Everything's going to be like this. This is how it is. So I never kept anything sealed other than my World's, my 2000s World Pikachu collection. That was one that I kept sealed for. I opened my brother's and I kept mine sealed. So that was kind of the fun part of it. But no boxes. I never had a booster box as a kid. I don't even know if they were doing ETBs back then. It was just like we were lucky to get packs every week. That was it just wasn't what it is today. And I think a lot of people who are either, never grew up with it don't really understand. Like people talk about, oh my gosh, it was just such the craze back then. But like, other than Gary, like no kids were seeing booster boxes. Like, yeah, if I was telling my parents to buy me I think they were $90 back then. Will you buy me this $90 booster box? No, they'd probably be like, you're never buying cards again. I can't believe you think that you would, waste money on that.
I didn't know you could. I literally didn't even know that was a thing to buy the box. All I knew was packs.
I never saw them in store.
Never.
I assumed you could buy some kind of bulk, but yeah, anything I saw was just loose packs. And that was it. Maybe open boxes on the floor, like on the display or the kiosk. But other than that, yeah, I was like, well, yeah, their boxes open and the packs are in there. That was kind of my thought.
Yeah, seems simple. I do envy people that were smart enough to do that, because it would be really cool to have some like sealed packs that I had as a kid, that whole time. But I just, even if I would have got some boxes or, whatever, I don't think I could have done it. I would have wanted to see inside. I think that was the advantage with the Pikachus, was you could see in the photo
Right.
with a clear sheet, like you could actually see it.
That's a good point.
Like through it. So that was like not as mysterious, unsure. Like, is there a Magikarp in there? Is there a Gyarados?
Well, for people like us, that's perfect, because even if you open it, you're going to leave them the binder, but now you've got another layer of protection and you can still see it. So like, yeah, I would, that was not something I ever planned on opening. I ended up selling it eventually, but I never, at no point did it ever cross my mind to go, I should open this thing. It just wasn't something I planned on doing.
So what about modern? Have you bought any modern, like any pack? Have you opened any like booster packs? Like, or
yes,
not? Yeah,
I have. Not with the intention of really let me step back. Not really knowing what I was doing. Usually it's I'm in Target with my wife. I always beeline it to the toy section. She just says, please come back when you're done. Just because I want to see. It gives me kind of insight to go, like, are people still just raking these shelves empty? So I've bought like 2 of the Zacian like red Sword and Shield boxes. Had no idea what cards were in there. And I like that actually, because I literally just opened them and was like, I have no idea what to expect. I don't know what the chase is. This looks cool. I hate reverse hollows though. It's so annoying they put those in every pack. I'm just like, what? This is all bulk. Like, I'm not a fan of it. But even stuff I pulled, I was like, man, this is such a cool card. Like, I love the art. And I look it up and it's like $3. But I like that's cool, because I didn't buy it thinking like, what can I get out of this? What can I, sell this for? I was just like, I just want to open some packs. And I recently opened maybe about a month ago, I opened an Evolutions box that I had in a trade a while back. That's probably the second most modern thing I've opened, which is cool.
That's the one you did on Instagram, right?
Yeah.
I think I was watching it. Yeah, I seem to remember watching it live with you.
I always try to trick my brain, because I remember that morning I was like, I was getting dressed and I just saw it and there. I was like, for like half a second, I was like, I should open that. I was like, nah. And then I went to work, and like, I've come to learn this about myself, that like, that's how quickly I make a decision of what I'm going to do. So by that night, kids are down, wife's asleep. I'm like, I'm going to go open that box now. Like, it wasn't even, I tried to tell myself like, just don't do it, because who cares? It's Evolutions. But I was like, you know what? I'm just going to open this booster box and just see what happens. Let's hunt a Zard. I've never done it. Like, let's enjoy it. It was a cool set. I wouldn't say it was exciting. That is one thing that after opening it, I can see where the criticism comes in from somebody who opened base set packs and all of that, because it's fun, but it's like, it's just like the newer version of the vintage cards. Now, there were some other cards in there.
But that's the thing. Yeah, it isn't new cards. It is the same artwork. It's the same cards, isn't it?
It's just the card stock looks a little different, the borders and all that. But yeah, it wasn't too crazy. I was hoping to pull maybe a starter, because if I did that as a kid, I don't remember. But yeah, it was just cool to open a box. And I was just like, I haven't opened a booster box in so long. Like, I bought a couple of those, like I said, Sword and Shield. I might have said booster box, I meant ETB. But I was like, I'm just going to open a booster box. And why not do it with Evolutions? Cost basis was good. Great trade deal. Why not? But yeah, modern, not really. I mean, it doesn't excite me. Celebrations is great. I absolutely loved opening Celebrations. That was such a cool thing to do.
Love it. Yeah.
Beyond that, no. I mean, again, it kind of goes back to my like, everybody can do this. Like, what am I chasing? It's not hard for me to find modern products. So I tend to steer away from it. I tend to focus, I think even on my Instagram, which I should remove. I've had people like say things about it, but I have vintage and then the greater than symbol modern. Like, I don't know why I thought about that when I first made my Instagram. I was like, I just want people to know, like, this is what I go for. But yeah, anyway.
Keep it. Be true to yourself, man. Own it.
Why not? Why not? I'm waiting on the person who comments when I post a modern card at some point. If I may have already, but if I ever post it, they're like, what are you doing, man? This goes against your bio. Come on.
What are you trolling us? Like, what is going on right now?
Right.
Yeah, that's funny. And that kind of ties in with the whole needing to keep yourself in your own channel with with YouTubers or Instagram people, like, hey, stay in your lane, bro. Like, I only subscribe to you because you talk about vintage Pokemon cards, or I only subscribe to you because you break packs. Like, well, I can't talk about something else. I mean, I've done a million different videos, and I've got next week March's data video coming out for, PSA's what's he cards. And, today I just did a PSA return, and I'm live streaming with you right now. And I've got a video planned for next week that I'm getting ready to film that is completely different to anything I've ever done. Like, I'm just kind of all over the place. I'm just enjoying it. Like, if you want to subscribe,
you're having fun, man. Shotgun it. It's nice to keep it guessing. It's like, Jake and Pokenomics, he started doing these reaction videos, and I love that. And it wasn't that I just love reaction videos. I was just like, oh, this is new. This is refreshing. I'm a big fan of this. Collectibles. Being a baby video dropping tomorrow. That's fun.
Yeah, I love that. I wasn't expecting him to post that video. When I got that notification and that came up, I was like, wait, what? It does reaction videos now. And obviously I had to watch it. Like, it was something new and different. But
I was like, Jake, why did you do it for 55 minutes? I'm going to watch it all. Like, you're killing me here, man. So yeah, he got sped up to 175 on that speed. I was like, I don't know if I can set for 55 minutes just on normal playback. But anyway, I watched it. It's good. It's just refreshing. I like stuff like that. I enjoy just, not being able to predict what the content's going to be, and I understand it. Like you said, I mean, in the YouTube world, I actually had a conversation about this today with someone. It was like, it's hard to deviate if you just kind of trudge along your own path, you've grown something, because people don't want to see it. And it's unfortunate because, the algorithm loves it. But just diversity of content is great.
What predictable content do you like? Is there anything that you like to watch? Because I've really enjoyed watching people's like podcast stuff. I was talking with the Green Shiz about it last night. Like, I like watching those podcasts like this, people talking with each other about things like their interests and part of the community. And I think the biggest part of me wanting to start this YouTube channel was just to be involved in it. Like, I'm not interested in getting 100,000 subscribers and making money and doing this. Like, this is literally a hobby for me. Like, this is part of my card collecting and all the other junk I collect, like just one more jigsaw piece in the puzzle. And I think there are certain people I subscribe to because I like what they do, because they consistently do that. And that's the kind of thing I like listen to. So I'm just curious if there's anything like that for you.
I mean, as far as consistency, obviously I love live streams. You'll see me in almost all of them.
I do.
I just love, I love hearing.
Right there with you.
Now I will say that I'll kind of flip it a little bit on you. I do love streams like this. I love when people talk like this. I'm not a fan of if you're doing so many different streams and the 2 or 3, however many people, they're agreeing the entire time. I'm not a fan of that because I'm like, I want to hear diversity. I want to hear, I like this. Well, no, what are you talking about? Here's why. I like the back and forth. Because at that point, we're all just sitting around talking about the same thing, saying we like it. You could sum up the entire thing, which is going to happen. I mean, we all have very similar thought processes as we go through this. I mean, you and I even talked about like, some of the PeekDatChu stuff that we both like. But I'm
guessing you liked PK and Dan's videos.
Oh, the bat 10 out of 10, man. Like, and what's funny is I had never seen anything, maybe 1 or 2 videos tops, but it didn't register with me. I might've just casually scrolled through it. I had never watched any of PK's content until that video. So,
oh, really?
never. Oh, and the next day, the Leonhardt pop-up shop was there, and I met him because he was hanging out with Basic and all those guys. And he was like, "Hey, dude, I'm Pokemon knowledge." And I was like, dude, I like dropped what I was doing. I think it was opening like a Chilling Rain booster box with my buddy. And I was like, your stream with Dan, dude. I was like, please keep it up. I was like, that was amazing. And I don't know 100% if he like took it the best. I mean, he was just like, oh yeah, it was kind of got a little crazy. I was like, no, dude, like it was amazing. Like I loved it. And I fangirled a little bit at that point. I was like, dude, that is the type of stream that I have not seen anyone do. And ever since then, I mean, all of his lives, like I mean, he has been absolutely, I mean, you as well, like you two are the two standouts for me. And I watch a lot of these, type of streams is like, it's just like good guests, good conversations. And PK has just stepped it up, man. That MK video he did was awesome. Like I forgot about that guy, and him to like resurrect him out of whatever hole he was in was so cool to see and hear that conversation.
Legend. I mean,
yeah, he's a fun dude. I'd love to talk with him on one of these streams like this one day, because he's just such an opinionated guy, and I enjoy that. Like I love those type of personality types.
Yeah, but he knows what he's talking about too. It's not just opinion. Like he can like follow it up. And I told him the exact same thing as you. Like that video, he was asking me, and I think I put that in like the top 3. I don't remember, which one specifically I said, but I was like, that's one of the best videos you did. Like really, because you guys were genuinely talking about things that you were passionate about in very different ways. And it was like entertaining like it was truly entertaining for people. Like people love watching that stuff. I think you and I might have a hard time having a discussion like that. Obviously, we've got similar interests with stuff, and I'm not particularly like against much. Like I'm pretty like opportunist and like open and optimistic about a lot of stuff. So, but I can tell you if I do disagree, I will say it. Like I will say it. So if you ever see me on a live stream and my tone changes, I'm serious about it. Like I really don't agree at that point. Like it takes a bit to get me to that, but yeah.
Yeah, like my whole the only thing that I'm ever even like controversial about, I hate even calling it controversial, but like I'm not a fan of people avoiding like money conversations or being in this hobby for money, or that being a very large part of why they're in it. I've never understood why that is such a like a taboo thing to talk about. Because I hear people talk about, it's for the betterment of the hobby, it's this, and like I get it, but like there's only so many of those champions, like true to the core champions. Like there's people that I'll see that talk a lot of the financial market talk, but then, if you talk about like, let's talk about the actual money that, you've been able to make, or not, I don't want to know how much you made before taxes. Like that's not what I mean, but like, how did you do in the hobby last year? How did you do in this? Then all of a sudden it's like, well, I've just built my own personal collection. I've done this and I've been able to acquire this. Like, I don't know. It just seems like it's a very roundabout answer. And I just wish there would be more. Dan is a prime example, Catch 'em all collectibles. Like the man throws spreadsheets out of how much he spent on Pokemon. Like
too.
Shows his selling prices. Like that's the stuff that I wish that transparency existed more. And a lot of people don't like to, there's a sense in the hobby that I've noticed that people just do not like. There's 2 things people don't like. They don't like people with a lot of money who are into this hobby. They can't stand it. Logan Paul is a prime example. Aoki's a prime example. They can't stand guys that come in and just drop $100,000 on a card. It doesn't affect them even remotely. Definitely doesn't, affect any of their personal buys ever. So they don't like that. And then they also don't like people. It's almost like the way I've compared it is like musicians. It's like the local band that finally gets a record deal and then you hate them. It's like they're sellouts or whatever. It's like, it's okay for people to make money and also collect cards. Like if you didn't have any interest in it, you're not going to do well with it. You're just going to buy Charizards, which good luck, have fun, So that's one thing in the hobby that is annoying to me. I'm just like, guys, we all have sold things. It's okay. If you want to take a portion of that and, upgrade your cards, great. If you just want to keep it and keep your current collection, great. Who cares? I mean, really, like it doesn't affect anybody. And like people were so mad about flippers and scalpers. And you and I talked a little bit before the stream came on. Like I've been like bourbon collecting and like alcohol collecting, I guess, which people find weird, but it's a big, big thing. I mean, I was in like, these waffles and razzles and stuff like 2014. Like this is not new to me. Wow. And people were like, they're buying it all off the shelf. And I'm like, well, yeah, it was on the shelf. Like that was my whole mentality. I'm like, get there early, but like that type of stuff is foreign to me because I've never been mad at people like going out and just buying everything. Like it doesn't bother me at all.
I think for some people there is an element of resentment and I don't know if it's the actual person, but I definitely think some people resent the situation people are in or decisions people are making because they didn't do that decision or they didn't succeed at that decision or, whatever they tried to do. A lot of people lost a lot of money last year. A lot of people lost some money this year, and whether that's on whatnot or buying stuff to break open and try and pull that one card they're chasing to try and sell, or I mean, I've seen a lot of damage just on Facebook alone. Today, I saw someone in one of the Pokemon groups, and they were talking about how they spent like $1,500 in the past week, like just opening cards, like trying to find like good Charizards from Brilliant Stars. And then other people were
buy the card, guys. Buy the card. What are you doing?
Bro, like literally people in the comments below that post were all saying the same thing. They were saying that, oh, I've spent 700, I've spent 2,000 in the past 2 weeks. I've spent this, I've spent that, opening Brilliant Stars, trying to pull that. Like everyone was like, they were like relating to each other and like trying to like, I don't know if it was like empathy or trying to like ask for empathy or what, but I was like, that's terrifying. Like, why did you spend $1,500 like on Brilliant Stars? That's
the stories are tough, man. Like I've seen people, I'm either getting a divorce or I've got bills or one thing happened that now has set me back financially. And that stuff is, it's unfortunate, but I take a little bit of a less like sympathetic path. I just am like, well, you learned. Like people learn like what with their decisions and stuff like that in different ways. And that's something that if Pokemon is how you learn to not blow your money on things you can't afford, so be it. Don't make the same mistake. And it's unfortunate to see like the mob mentality, the Wall Street bets, loss porn mentality of like, well, I spent $2,000. Well, I lost 1,500. Well, I'm in a box. It's like, this isn't a competition, guys, to see who can lose the most money. And it's, that's kind of the unfortunate thing is I agree with you. I think it is a problem. I think it's one thing that people just don't understand the hobby to an extent. I can't even imagine going out and spending $1,500 to $2,000 on a modern product, much less a box with a chance to do it. I think Whatnot is a prime example. I think they've absolutely changed the game, but I think one thing that they've done is, and no fault to them, but they've created a situation where it's like the FOMO mentality, 30-second auctions, 10-second auctions. I got to buy this. I got to buy this. I got to buy that. I've fallen for that. Just the other night, I was watching, I think the guy's name is Simply Unlucky. And I bought a Realm of the Gods 3-pack that he just, ripped on stream. I have 2 cases of it right here. I don't need a pack of Realm of the Gods, but I was watching it. I was like, I want one of those cards.
It's fun.
So I can only imagine what it's like for somebody who maybe just enters and goes, what's that Whatnot thing that Logan Paul was on? I'm going to get on there. And then they spend $2,000 in a week. So you just got to protect yourself. You just have to understand that patience is key.
Mm-hmm.
Don't leverage yourself. Don't buy this stuff on credit. God forbid. I've never understood that. And don't, just prioritize your life first and then have fun. Let this supplement your life, unless you're just a full-time, that's what you do. But
yeah, I mean, if you got the money, whatever. But like you said earlier too, like you're kind of hinting at it. There's a lot of adults, like grown adults with like careers and houses and kids and like doing this stuff too. Like you got to be responsible for, but I'm talking about like blowing like crazy money on stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Like there's got to be some stuff like, okay, like I'm mature enough to know not to like do that. Like buy a lotto ticket, like the Powerball.
Spend $2 a week on Powerball tickets. Yeah, exactly.
Spend 20. I mean, I'd much rather that than spend it trying to pull the right Pokemon card. And that's not me trying to be like a snob about it. I would much rather them buy a couple of packs and enjoy what they get than like feel bad and resent themselves for spending that money after. Because those guys on Facebook, like that really like struck a chord with me. I was thinking like, they're probably not going to sleep tonight because they're like worried that they've just spent that money on Pokemon cards.
Yeah.
Like that's crazy to me.
It definitely leaves them wanting more, even if they pulled it. That's the other thing. It's whether you don't pull it or you pull the card you were chasing, you want that hit again. I mean, it's blackjack in a casino, It's like, I know I should walk away, but I'm just going to, I could win this next hand, or I could double my money. That's all it is. And
I was there last week.
Oh yeah. I love blackjack. I've done very well at blackjack. I'm the guy, like, if somebody doesn't, if they don't hit correctly, like I just stare at them. I'm like, you're messing this all up for us. And my head goes to like, what if that was mine? Or what, I pay attention to that stuff, but that's neither here nor there. But that's the problem is that there's so many people that I don't think it's an intelligence thing at all. I think they get caught up in the hype. I think they get hyped up by people, influencers, whatever it is. They love watching people open boxes, and it's just not an intelligent way to engage in this hobby. And I will say that that's kind of the way that I can see if someone's actually interested in this hobby or not, because they're not really chasing anything. They're chasing a Charizard, but it's just that newest Charizard, or it's the new whatever. If you go to those people and go, what do you like? They're going to tell you that set card. I'm like, no, but what do you really like? Do you like artists? Do you like certain eras of Pokemon? Do you have a certain Pokemon that you really like? And there's usually no answer. It's just, I just like watching people open boxes, and I like paying and doing it myself. And, teach their own. Everybody has their own individual responsibility, but I would much rather find things that I really like or love the story behind and spend the money to just get it. I mean, just buy the cards, like open cool stuff that you don't care about so you could open it, and then just buy the cards you want. I mean, that's the way, at least that's for me, what I'd like to do.
We are most certainly in the minority. And I think the fact that Leonhardt has been so incredibly successful, like, definitely exemplifies that thought process, because he isn't aiming his content at you and I at all. And
I'm one of the few that does actually watch it. I actually watch. I mean, I will not watch every pack opening or every box opening, because that's
because you want to see the cards. It's fun. It's entertaining.
I skip. Now, granted, he did have a box break recently where he hit the Crystal Zard, and then the I can't remember the other Charizard. He hit it all in the same box break, or pack opening, which was crazy. I like the guy. I think that he's super cool. Like we've talked, a few different times, starting as of December. Like we were messaging each other. Really nice dude. I met him at the pop-up shop for the first time in person. Humble. Just a lot of pressure, man. Like that guy. I can't even imagine having to have that job. Constantly keeping that energy, constantly engaging in it. Because I know he likes it, but anybody who does YouTube knows it's a grind. But
and you've got to keep it going long term too. You can't just stop. You need to keep it going. Like that's something created. That's like the situation you're in. And I really hope he doesn't try to get out of it. Like I really hope he keeps at it and pushes through, because he has a massive fan base and he has had a massive impact on this hobby, whether you like him or not. Whatever it is you want to sum it up to, he's had a very positive impact on the Pokemon community for cards.
I wouldn't mind him stepping away and making Rare Candy his umbrella. Like that would be for content. I think it'd be good for him with his most recent video saying he's just burned out. I mean, I forget how many he said he puts out. I think he said he was putting out 4 videos a week for 8 years. Like imagine the editing. Like I can't even imagine, but he
I'm the king of editing if you don't.
Start, stop. It's great. Live streams are the best. That's why. But no, I just think that if he could step away and let, because Alec Pokemon, if no one follows that guy, go find him on Instagram or any other social media. Dude is super humble, one of the coolest guys ever. He was Rare Candy's first employee, and he actually is local to Dallas as well here. But super great guy, a lot of cool cards, a lot of cool access to cards. Has some real fun stories, but
there's a lot you could do with that site. I mean, there really is a lot. There's a lot of different avenues you could go, and there's still plenty of new things to discover out there, I'm sure.
Yeah, and I'd love for him to, and just let's say hypothetical, Leonhardt, just change your content because this is what I want. No, not really. I just want to give the guy more time, but I wish that he would be able to step away from all these modern breaks and all these box breaks and let his, let's call them employee influencers, for lack of a better term, like just do that as part of the channel. And then he's only doing like, you know, like his Mr. Fuji stream, like just the rarest of the rare, like top of the mountain, occasionally open a box. Like, I think that would be more fun for him, because I mean, he's got to be burnt out from opening the same stuff over and over. Now, it's great to hit stuff, but the guy's had every set card, I'm sure, by this point. So
I want to see him. I want to see him travel. I want to see him going to Japan and getting involved in stuff and going to like different.
That would be cool.
Pokemon themed places, and like, you know, doing it as like a bit of like a almost like lifestyle type,
like vlog
playlist. Yeah, something like that. Like I feel like he could have a lot of fun going exploring the world, like getting involved with all the different people related to Pokemon, whether that's, you know, Gary King Pokemon, all the way to, you know, maybe a Japanese illustrator, you know, in Japan, or I don't know, a card shop in Germany. Like, there's a million possibilities with that. If I had crazy money or, you know, unlimited access to something like that, that's probably what I would do. I'd be trying to grab people all over the world just to like see them and then share that experience with other people.
That reminds me of his.
He has that.
I remember he interviewed Veronica, who was like the voice of Ash Ketchum. He had he had another ex-WotC employee. I mean, he was doing that for a little bit, but I'm assuming the algorithm didn't like it. He didn't get as many views or likes and realized his audience wasn't a fan. I don't know, but that was a really fun little short stint that he went down. Even he did Pratt and Gary. He did Pratt and Gary once. He did, again, Mr. Fuji. Yeah, he did Jason Page. He did Mr. Fuji, which is my all-time. Mr. Fuji's my all-time. Like, that dude is so awesome. Like, the most chill looking, happy all the time guy like I've ever seen in this hobby. Yeah, just stuff like that I enjoy. But again, it's that interview, it's that conversation, that dialogue, right? And that's what, you know, as we talked about earlier, kind of what we enjoy. I love hearing people talk about their experiences in the hobby. I mean, that's really, you know, kind of across all avenues of any collectible that I, you know, follow, whether it's like, you know, whiskey, sneakers, Dragon Ball, like, it doesn't matter what it is. It's like, if people are talking about it, that's what I want to hear. It's just easier to ingest information, I think.
I have seen in the past 2 or 3 months much more of it. There's a lot more of us that are starting to talk and like realize that people want to hear people talking about this stuff, like, instead of talking at them. They want to be part of what feels like a discussion, because I know I want that. That was part of why I wanted to do this. And, you know, I moderate for PK, and, you know, I was on his live stream, you know, he invited me on. I was completely shocked that he would want to talk to me when he's had all these like amazing people on there. Like, I was like, I had like a weird feeling in my chest. I was like so nervous and like excited and everything about it. But I asked him after, like, do you mind if I did that? Like, if I got someone on, and like, I wanted his permission, like, because I genuinely cared about what he thought, and I cared about like what impact that could have, like, just in the community. I guess I wanted like his approval for it almost. And he was like, don't be a dickhead, like, just do it. Like, what are you talking about? Like, you don't need, like, obviously
I can see him
like,
saying that.
Yeah, like, you know, what are you even talking about? And I was like, okay, like, yeah, I'm just overthinking it. But like, in reality, you know, like, I just love it. I just want to be a part of it. I want to talk with people and enjoy it. And, you know, you're a prime example of that, someone that I want to talk with. And Mason, up it.
Oh man,
Mason knows.
Mason, I've got Kentucky bourbon for you tonight, man. So actually, I should say that, actually, since we're in the stream.
Yeah, what is it?
So I told Oak, him because we chatted, I can't remember where, but Oak is usually drinking a bourbon at some point. He's got a Modelo today, so he's kind of going a little south. Yeah, that's true. Good callback. So I told him, I was like, I'll drink something special during our stream. So right now I have, I'm gonna see if you can see it with the blurry background. Let me try and get it up here. Maybe, no, it's not gonna take the label. All right, I'll just tell you what it is. It is, I guess you can kind of see it there. It's empty. Obviously, I like to drink my stuff. It is a 2017 George T. Stagg. So it's a 17-year age bourbon out of Buffalo Trace. It's part of their antique series they release every year. It's 5 bottles that are aged variable years. And I told you I had a cool story for this, and I'll make it somewhat brief because I don't want to rant. But I was bored at work one day, working real hard. And I was looking up bourbon releases, checking stuff out. And I found a distributor who had posted their, like what they had sent to the store. And there's a thank you note from Buffalo Trace saying, thanks for carrying all our normal stuff. We appreciate you as a customer. Here's our antique collection. You can give your high profile clients or customers. Signed, head of marketing, president, of Buffalo Trace, whatever. So I took the president of Buffalo Trace's email and emailed him and just said, hey, dude, because my father-in-law and I drink bourbon together. We like to collect it. We enjoy drinking it. So I was like, hey, just wanted to say, like, so appreciate you, everything you guys do. Fantastic company. You guys have spawned so many wonderful conversations with my father-in-law and I, blah, blah, blah. So like 2 days later, he replies, which I did not expect. I figured, maybe a receptionist or somebody would, get rid of that. He copies like 35 people or something on this email and is like, this is what this is all about. Like, this is why we do what we do. Shit. Wrote me like a paragraph back, and then copied a guy who's the head of distribution for Sazerac for Texas. It was like, email this guy. So it's like, okay. And he's like, so they found me a local store here, like maybe 15 minutes away from me, and made them hold me one of these bottles, which you do not just walk in and like buy these. Like, that's just not what it is. I think resale that thing is like $1,000 or something. And it's $99 retail, to give you reference. So he was like, go there. He's got something for you. So I walk into the store and I'm like, hey, he's like, where can I help you find? I was like, well, I was told you got something for me. My name's Colt. He goes, oh, it is like, there's some guy working there. He's like, it's him. And I was like, what? And he's like, I don't know who, man, like, which one of these do you want? And they just like had the whole, and they were like, which one do you want to drink? Like, you can buy it for retail. So I always joke that I
got chills.
Dude, it's so great. And I got it for retail, and I've gone to that store ever since, because like, I'm not gonna be the guy who just picks up and leaves, but I will never throw away that bottle, because I joke that the president of Buffalo Trace gave me that. So all that being said, that's what I'm drinking with you. It's one of my finest bourbons. So again,
I am honored.
Anytime I hear anybody who's into anything like that, I'm on board. So
I feel like this is sacrilege, drinking Modelo now. Well,
no way, man. No. I enjoy Mexican beers are great, man. You'll always see me pound a Corona every now and then. So I was big in the craft beer world as well, but yeah, alcohol collecting was one of my first things before this hobby.
I'll have a heavy pour this weekend for you in memory. I'll make sure that we do that. That's obviously incredibly exciting, and I'm trying to think of what it was called, but there was one. My friend from Maine was down a few weeks back, and he bought one. I feel like it was called Pig something, and I guess that was one of the special versions.
Whistle Pig, Boss Hog, something like that. Yeah. It's good stuff. It's not bad. A little overpriced, a little overmarketed, but Buffalo Trace, and I
didn't pay it. Then he put it down.
That's true. That's true. And Mason, because nice. I know Mason's in the stream, I've told him I will be, because I wanted to do the Kentucky Bourbon Trail for so long, which we'll get back to talking cards, guys. Sorry. I could literally talk this in an entirely different video, but
we're all adults. There's no 10-year-olds awake right now.
That's true. But I've told Mason, like, I want to do the Kentucky Bourbon Trail, which is basically hitting distilleries, like all the old distilleries in Kentucky. And like, when I come up there, I'm like, dude, like, we're having a good bourbon. I'm coming by the store. Like, you're going with me. I'm stealing you out of there if I can. Like, so that'll be a fun thing whenever I do that. I'm definitely finding that guy and making him go with me.
Okay. So let's shake that.
What exactly makes you think that? That's funny. Sorry, I was reading the White Claw comment that made me laugh.
They are funny. I love that we have such cool people. I swear, every time I'm in a chat, I'm like, why are these people? The only like cool people in the hobby are always in my chat. I don't know how that happened, but I feel very honored.
I like because you're such a humble guy.
I don't know what it is. I love it though. Like
I'm joking about the way you said that. You're like, all the cool people in the hobby are in my chat. I was like, probably because you're such a humble guy.
Yeah, definitely wasn't trying to humble, but I was like more shocked than anything. Yeah, I would like you to do a pack per pour. Like every time you poured one at each place, you open a pack or something. Like shake it up and do a little.
Dude, that's a good idea. I love
do a
that.
short, a YouTube short every time, or an Instagram thing each time you do one, and then Basic said he'll do a tequila with you each time. So I don't know what
Don Julio exclusively, my friend. That is that's the only one I'm going for. But it's funny too because, or sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say I don't know how blurry it would be by the end of it, but I still feel like it would be fun.
I've got a pretty trained liver at this point. Once you've gone to like I've done whiskey tastings, beer tastings, like wine tastings, I am all over the alcohol world. So if anybody ever wants to talk that every now and then, I can talk that probably equally with as much interest as I can cards. So but yeah, Basic, if you're down, I'll be in San Antonio on what was it, Sunday? So, or Monday. I mean, let's do it, man. Let's drink some Don Julio together. I'm down.
That'd be amazing. I want to see that. You two need to do a live stream together.
We don't have channels, but we can go Instagram live. That's for sure.
So Basic brought that up with me, and he was saying that I guess you can't live stream or whatever until you have a certain amount, but I was live streaming when I had like 40 people following me. So I think there's some kind of workaround for it.
Yeah, I don't know. I literally I thought about doing a channel like maybe 6 months ago. I was like, it's the same reason you did. I want to engage. I want to mainly just do live chats with video streams. But also put out like I thought about doing like, top 5, like, those type of videos, like top 5 cards you've never heard of. Like you don't remember. Like that type of stuff. But I just I don't know, it's just a time thing, man. And not saying that I don't have the time, because I hate hearing the phrase I don't have time, because it just means that you're not making time. Because there's always, I could wake up at 3 a.m. and do a whole video, get it edited, all of that. But I knew I couldn't commit to it like long term. Anything that I do, I want to just dive in and make it happen. And I don't know, I kind of enjoy where I'm at though. I kind of enjoy being a part of everybody's content, because I don't really necessarily want to gain anything out of it. I just really enjoy sharing knowledge that I've accumulated over the time that I've done this. And I enjoy, people like yourself, Mason, PK, all these guys. I like talking to people who have different experiences and teach me stuff I don't know. I mean, that's the thing. Just being able to learn from so many people and still being able to learn about stuff like releases, like you mentioned Japanese cards in the beginning of this, like Japanese cards, I had no idea they even existed. That's fun. Like I like to be surprised in that way. So I don't know. I think I'm just going to soak it up. I think I'm just going to keep it on the IG. That's about it.
I think you're underestimating how much value education can bring. Like there's so many people that are brand new to this hobby, whether that's the past year or the past month. Like people are still every day entering Pokemon. People call it the hobby, but yeah, Pokemon, and like, get involved, buying packs, to see them in the store and see everyone's talking about them on YouTube, on Facebook, here, there. There's a lot of people that have no idea what a set called, Team Rocket even exists, or like a really old one, or I don't know, Fate Collide, like what's that? Just never heard of some sets. And like you said, 98 birthday Pikachu, nope, no idea. I don't literally have no idea. Like a lot of people would be like that. And there's obviously a lot of room for education. I mean, in a million different ways, even if you start off at simple stuff like, hey, the first ever secret rare, the Raikou, hey, the first ever reverse, the Entei promo, the first, going through like some real fundamentals of like where it began and where things start to trickle in and get a bit more serious. Yeah, I think you're someone that obviously has a solid foundation for knowledge and where things are at and what things are. And none of us are masters, but there's not to say you can't do a bit of research and touch stuff up before you did a video.
I think that's the thing, is like the amount of reading that I do when I dive into something is like I mean, I'm not comparing, but like I put a lot of time into like just reading the most like how I'm on page 8 of the thread, like I'm going all the way through to read, what I can. One thing I even, recently I've gotten into, like, if you see me in our Pokenomics Patreon's Discord, I've gotten into sneakers, like just random. I've always found sneakerheads fascinating. And like I had to teach myself like what this stuff was, how drops work, like what do people actually like in this, what's hard to get. So it's like starting over. And like with Dragon Ball, that's one thing that Mason and I actually talked a little bit about Realm of the Gods before it came out on March 11th. I was like, dude, this art is super cool. Like, and I'd love to see a video where he talks about Bandai, because he's got some funny but also factual opinions on them, of how they've done releases in the past. But like, I've really been intrigued with, some of their paper trophies and stuff that I've seen posted. Some of their, like, they just had their first world championship December of 21. So like, it's one of those things where I'm like, okay, I've always enjoyed Dragon Ball just as much as I have Pokemon, if not more, as a kid.
Still
the
going.
show, at least. Yeah. And I'm caught up. I'm caught up to all through Super. I look at the fan mangas, like the guy, RJ, I think is his name, ARJ, Mr. RJ or something like that, does a great fan manga for that. But yeah, I love that stuff. So I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to dive in. I think the set's super cool. A lot of cool stuff in it. They came out with the God Rare stuff, which is, amazing. I'm like, hey, something hard to get. Let's get 2 cases, So I finally just said, if I'm going to get it, I just want to jump in on that, and just have fun with it. But yeah, that's the thing with any hobby that you get into. It's finding people like yourself or, Poke Knowledge. Jake is a great reference as well. Just sheer knowledge of like doing the research for everyone, and then, them sharing it, which is great. I think is so helpful. And I think if you're new, there's so much existing content out there. I mean, you even look at some of the old DJ Gigabyte videos from like 10 years ago. Like that stuff is still relevant. Like I'm like, why is there not more of this? So maybe one day, it's not even on my radar at this point, but yeah, it's I agree. I think the educational side of the hobby is very important, but I think we got a lot of people doing it.
Yeah, I mean, you're obviously involved, like you said, if that's truly what you enjoy and what you want to be involved in, like there's no harm, no foul. Like there's no pressure, you don't have to do anything. But I definitely think you've got, a unique perspective and a different like mindset than some other people could learn from. And I think the more people doing this stuff, like the better. I'm all for it. I think everyone should have a YouTube. I think everyone should have a Instagram and be posting what they're buying, and we should all be celebrating each other and and kind of just enjoying it as a whole. But I know that's not quite feasible.
Well, it's just, it's how much time people really have like to dedicate to it, or even having to learn how to video edit. I can't even imagine trying to learn that today. I mean, even some of the bigger guys that we follow, they're like, I'm not going to edit this, because it's such a learning curve. And I think there's an age cutoff. Sorry guys, but I think there's an age cutoff to where they want to learn it, or they just grew up video editing, on either phone apps or like actually being able to go in and learn like Premiere. But yeah, I enjoy the conversations. I love what you've done with this channel. It's so cool to see like you growing and hitting 100, which again, congratulations, man.
Thank you.
Because I mean, you're doing exactly what all the really, really engaged people want to see. And and you enjoy it. And that's why you did it, which is such a cool story. You're not in this for fun. Yeah, you're not in. And when it stops being that, like, just stop. Like, it's fine. Like, and you're okay with that. And that's what I find like so intriguing about you as a person, and like what you've done with this is just being able to, I'm going to invite, whoever. Like Shiz was on, you're like, I'm just going to invite him on. Like, you're like, size my channel, I don't care. I want to talk to this guy. I want you to talk to me. And it's awesome. Like, and good on him, because I'm sure there's people out there who are like, no, you have to have this certain tier of subs. It's got to benefit me. But like, you're finding the real honest people in this hobby, man. And you're one of them. And I applaud you for it. It's great.
The people I follow and the people, in the chat I interact with, and the people that are on my, on my subscriber list and in my chat and stuff, they're people that I would generally want to be friends with. Like, they're people that I would want to go to the pub with and have a beer. I'd want to do a poker night with them. I'd want to talk cards with them. Like it's that simple for me. It's like real basic, like just people I enjoy. You know, your prime example is exactly what you're on the channel right now. I'm doing a live stream. Like I'd love to sit and drink bourbon with you. It's
Good
that
times.
easy. I mean, seriously, it really is that simple. And for me, there isn't all the extra stuff. Like you're talking about subscribers and this and that. Like, not, does that any of that really matter? Like, if you're having a good time chatting and that's that other person you could maybe learn something from, you know, it really is that easy for me. So, yeah, I mean, Mason just touched on it. He said, "I'm making more content. You know, I'm trying to work on it, but just give me a chance." Same thing. I've got a whole book of ideas of stuff I want to knock out, but we're all living in the real world. I'm not a full-time YouTuber. Like this is a hobby for me. You know, I only have so many hours in a day to do that stuff. My job is a very involved job. You know, I've got a lot going on with it. So yeah, I mean, there is only so much
good
you
on
can
you
do
for making time to do this, man. Like I you know, as someone else who, you know, this is just it's a hobby for me. I'm a lot more, I mean, even Dan, again, Catch 'em All Collectibles, he's like, you're everywhere, dude. Like I see this Nigel Chu like in the and I'm like, man, I work from home. I can multitask, I can have it on, engage, but I so give props to people who can find that balance to where like you know, you make the time. Like that's really what it is. It's, I mean, you'd be a prime example of someone, if you were just like, I don't have the time. Yep, I get it. You know, married, I have kids, you've got a career, but then you're still doing stuff like this. Like, and that's so beneficial because it shows that you're engaged. It shows that you actually care about spreading this type of knowledge or just in general conversations with people. And
I don't need to. I don't need to do it. Like there's some YouTubers that are relying on, you know, the income or the, you know, hoping to get it to the point where they get income. So like for me, it's completely organic. Like in all honesty, like I just organically enjoy it. I don't need to do it. I just want to be involved, and I want to be surrounded by the people I enjoy watching myself and enjoy talking with in the chats. You know, we'll chat in PeekDatChu, we'll chat in Masons, we'll chat in, you know, whoever, Rattle, you know, the Green Shares he was on, we're all chatting in there. Like we'll all a little group of people that enjoy it, can have fun and have a laugh. You know, it's a good time. We want to listen about cards, listen to other people's perspective on the hobby and where they're at, what they're doing. There's so many different corners to this hobby that people are in. You know, we've got, look in the chat right now. I mean, there's people from every kind of background and every kind of position within this market as such, you know, buying or selling or collecting or investing or flipping or all over the place, and we all have something unique to bring. It's cool.
Like Ancient Mew said in the chat, every day I wake up, I love this hobby even more. Pokemon will never get old. I can't guarantee the latter half, but that's great to feel that way. Ride that feeling about anything that you have in your life, because that tends to not be forever. But I'm glad that, I mean, that type of stuff is nice to read. You know, it's like, I'm glad that people enjoy, like they can jump on I mean, it's midnight for you, it's 11 p.m. for me, like, and they can be like, yes, these guys are streaming and having a conversation about the hobby I love. And Mason, I'm working on making more content. Give me a chance. I'm but one man, but you're the man. Come on, Mason.
Yeah.
Actually, Mason, you put out a pretty good amount of content, I think, for somebody who runs a business. I would like to see more live streams though. I think you were on, wasn't he on Old Card Shop yesterday or 2 days ago? I think so.
The Green Shares.
No, Mason. I think he was on Old Card Shop. Yeah, he was. I remember them talking now. They did a stream together, or I don't know if it was a live stream, but yeah, he's a prime example. He's like one of those guys. Like I would be Ancient Mew in that chat. I'm like Mason, and I think I was like, what a guest! Like yes, like because I never get to hear a whole lot from him talking hobby, and yeah, it's funny. Like you said, there's so many different corners and like personalities involved with this that it's you know, you just kind of want to ingest all of it. Everybody has their own unique take with it. So it's fun, man. I like it. It's not boring to me at all. I find myself expanding more into other TCGs now because I've done this for a good while, but I don't see it leaving my radar anytime soon. I'm really to the level, maybe not the level of Ancient Mew, but I definitely like, I'm excited to like ingest more content every day. So
I'm excited with also, I don't sound cheesy, but what like Pokemon do. next? Like, with this new generation coming out, and there's obviously going to be more games in the future. Like, there's a lot of expectation for pretty flashy stuff and like cool new things now. They're going to have to really step up the bar. There's a lot of people counting on this hobby, this investments that they made and these collections on growing, on getting bigger and making money, and more people coming in and more people like staying in. Pokemon are going to have to do some pretty wild stuff these next few years to keep that train rolling.
Oh no, I mean, they could just copy the Japanese releases. Like yeah. I mean, literally, like I've talked about this like a few times. I wish what they would do is just give us subsets out of their main, like say they, and I don't know the amount of modern products out. Let's say they release, I don't know, 3 sets a year, whatever it is, or 4 sets, let's say 4 sets a year, 1 a quarter. Like if they would just pepper in a subset, a limited like subset, maybe twice a year, make that the true like chase set. And then you have the regular product, still going. Celebrations is a prime example. Celebrations wasn't, I mean, I don't know if people would even consider it a true set, as far as a, like a Brilliant Stars or anything. I don't know how people view that, but I viewed that as like, this is a collector's item for a very limited amount of time. Now, everybody can argue like reprints and how much restock we're going to get in the future, but it was like its own little thing that didn't really fit into, I guess, what I call the canon of like set releases. I just wish that they would take like one cool thing I thought about was, when you do those subsets, like do, I don't want to say similar to Jungle, but do like best of Pokemon from vintage to modern for like, psychic type or like something random like that. You like make it something where you can rope in old Pokemon, not same art, but just older Pokemon, vintage Pokemon, ones that were out of this set, the most recent one. That way people can still get it. Don't put a Charizard, the master set, put it in the subset. Like, please give us sets without Charizard constantly. But that would be a cool way to do it. As well as just, exclusive English promos. I mean, I cannot comprehend why they don't do those other than Bidoof. But
why hasn't there been sets by location or like time periods or stuff like that? Like there's new versions of Team Rocket now. Like it's not Team Rocket anymore. Like why isn't the sets coming out revolved around those? Why isn't there a Pallet Town set? Like why isn't there a, I don't know, the Mount Moon set? Or like why isn't the stuff
that's kind of cool? That's a good idea.
There's a lot of stuff that they could build a lot of stuff, a story around, and like
give me Safari Zone. Give me Safari Zone. That would be the best. Like seriously, that would be a really cool set to have.
There's a lot of fun they could have with that stuff, but it kind of like going back to what I was saying, like then what do they do after that? Like there's only so much stuff they can do. Like everyone's always looking for like the next fun, the next exciting set. Like that's got to be really hard to keep that going, but not too far, but not just enough. Like Battle Stars was a definite dampener for me. Like that would definitely dampen the flame a little bit. Evolving Skies, Celebrations, we ended on such a high note last year. Brilliant Stars smashing out the gate. Astral Radiance, possible bit of a dampener. I mean, we don't really know yet, but you can't keep going like incredible forever. Otherwise that becomes the standard.
I just think they release them, and I don't follow the timeline, but it seems like there's they released a new set and then the next one's announced. Like I'm big into like hype to a certain extent. Like I want to know, like, I don't want to know that far in advance, and I want people to like, not people, but I would love to have, like you said, to keep it exciting. I think introducing subset, like very limited in size, little mini sets, I guess is maybe what you could call them, and lower the amount of cards in the massive sets. Because I mean, think about how much, I'm trying to remember what it was called. It wasn't Brilliant Stars. It was, I can't remember. Maybe it was that. I can't remember. Anyway, it was a gigantic set. I can't remember what the math was if you had to buy like however many booster boxes to actually complete the set. Take some of those card arts, push them into the Safari Zone mini set or whatever it is. You don't have to recreate the art. that makes them limited, gives these cards that probably wouldn't have any value anyway, actual value. And, it's easier to collect the entire main set. And then you have this collector's version, that you could always pick up as well. I just think that you could theme that correctly. But the Pokemon company's selling like crazy. Like they don't care. So it's like they're printing money. It's not going to happen. Maybe if it starts dying down a little bit, but I just can't see for the next probably 10 years, I would say. It's probably going to ride this wave pretty well. Like I don't see, there'll be people that age out of it in 10 years. So that's what'll be interesting to see. If people that are
a lot of people aging in, there's going to be people right now that opening it with, birthdays or Christmas with the dad or whatever, on a weekend for a treat or whatever. And then 10 years they got a job and now they want to buy a few, it's the same thing. History
it could be
itself.
I don't know if it's the same thing though. I don't know, because I think that the 90s were such a very specific, special time because it was so new, and this comes into like, kind of what the current environment and feeling of how, like, let's call them collectibles are. You have, crypto, you've got NFTs, you've got, they almost feel very temporary. Like I remember back then when everybody was into this, and it seems like it's easier to move on because there's always so many new things coming versus those early times. It was like, that was it. I mean, really, like if you wanted to collect something as a kid, like Beanie Babies had already died. So it was like, well, I'm going to collect these cards. And there wasn't like, if there were TCGs out at the same time, I didn't know anybody buying them like at all. I mean, if maybe Digimon cards were out, I really don't know. I know the show was out, but I think everybody always thought like, well, it's Pokemon and then Digimon. Like, why did they just rip off this entire show? But I don't know how that next generation of collectors are going to, I don't think it's going to be the same because we're buying our literal childhood. No phones, no access. We just talked about Japanese cards being so exotic because you couldn't even get them. Like it was like anybody I talked to has Japanese cards as a kid. They're like, I don't know how the hell I got these. They didn't go to Japan to get them.
Yeah.
I don't know. It'll be interesting to see.
I think that we do differ a little bit there because I think I'm a little bit more optimistic with it because I'm seeing them doing movies. We said Detective Pikachu. There's some kind of series coming out, some series deal where it's live action. We've got Pokemon Go a few years back, and plenty of games since. We've got the trading card game now going live onto cell phones, which is going to be very accessible for like a huge amount of people that have never played that game. Like I played it for 2 hours this evening before we came on this, like on my laptop. Like I love that game. Not that great, my decks aren't that good, but I enjoy it and it's easy and simple fun. Yeah, I think there's a lot going on. I see how much effort they're putting into stuff. And especially with the sets, there's so many cards, there's so much art. They're making sure people can get them now. Like there really is a lot of effort going into it. I feel really good about it, but how do you keep that train going? I don't know. Like you say, we'll get to the point where people want to come back to it when they do have money, like revisit Chilling Reign that they opened. That was the first pack they ever opened when they were 10 years old or something. And I can tell you, my wife's a teacher. I donate way too much. I spend way too much giving her students stuff, giving the kids stuff. They're third graders and they lose their freaking minds when I take stuff there, like coins, like real simple stuff, coins, like bulk cards. I've given them slabs before. I've given them like Team Rocket slabs. Like I've treated
That's awesome.
Empty tins, like the whole, like anything. Like I just try and throw stuff in and take it home. And if they get good grades that week, or she has some kind of system where they get like some reward on a Friday, they get it and they like
single-handedly making sure the hobby has legs.
They lose their minds.
You're in the streets making it happen. I love it.
I'm serious. Every single kid in that class wants that wants to be their thing that they choose out of like the prize box thing. They want the Pokemon stuff. Every single one of them. And so that I've firsthand, like this ain't dying right now with kids. Like even new kids to the hobby that are involved in it is very strong at the moment. And obviously there's a lot of factors contributing towards that, but there's got some of them that are gonna stick with it or come back to it. There's got to be.
And I don't think it'll ever truly die. I get it's just too big. Like you can't really like guarantee it. But I mean, if that goes down, like more in World War III, you know, I mean, it's like, you know, nobody, instead of printing cards, they're printing bullets at that point. You know what I mean? Like it would take such a massive shift, I think, for that the entire hobby, like that, at least the trading card side. Video games are going to do fine forever. I think. I truly do.
Yeah.
I mean, they already have like X amount of years track record on that. So
look at sports cards. I mean, some of them are like 150-year-old or something crazy, right? There's like some that they just invented cameras and they're basically making baseball cards and like it's crazy. So
it may go that way. I think that it's hard though, you know, because I don't like with sports specifically. I think there's a lot more of an easy form of entry, maybe, I guess, if I'm saying that right. And I'm stepping out in kind of the speculative here, but like when it comes to sports cards, it's like it's a very popularized thing. You play sports, you watch sports, you know, everyone knows someone who plays sports. Like I wouldn't say everyone knows someone who is into Pokemon. And this may be coming from even my like, you know, upbringing of like, you know, when you hit like late middle school, early high school, like you kind of just had to leave. You didn't have to, but a lot of people left Pokemon behind. It's like it was looked at as a very like nerdy, like, what are you doing? You're a kid. Like it just wasn't. And I don't know how it is today. It may be like that. It may not be because everybody's a little more open, it seems. But with sports, it's like, you know, you've got your absolute legendary players. You have like so many different, you know, things that you can relate it to with people. And it's hard for me to compare it directly to that market specifically. Because Pokemon is very unique in that. Like I can't think of another. I mean, maybe Magic, I would say, is probably the closest thing to some kind of fantasy like TCG that's out there. But I don't know. I don't know what it is. I think that Magic has its legs because people like to play it. Yeah. I don't know. You know, you just said yourself, like you just played the game on your laptop. Will digitizing that game take away people caring about the cards as much? Will there be collector's items within that, you know, it's easier for you to do it that way? You know, I mean, you talked to the Green Shiz, you know, yesterday, and he's like, I sell skins on CSGO, or people pay like thousands of dollars for fake items. And that's just in a video game. Like in there, I mean, if you could actually get a true collectible card in that game and that you could trade or you could sell, I mean, who knows? Who knows what that does to physical cards? And will that slowly phase out, you know, the interest? I don't know. But I mean, like you said, you're more of an optimist, you know, when it comes to that than I am.
Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking instantly when you're saying that, I'm thinking like code cards in the packs. They're going to buy packs to get the code cards to get the card digitally. So then they'll have both, you know, because you get the pack to open in the game. So there's always like some kind of light in the tunnel, end of the tunnel kind of thing, I guess, with that stuff. But
can you imagine that the hollow code card? Like they throw in the that's a chase at that point for the online TCG. Like you get some like crazy Pokemon because it's a hollow code card, you know, or whatever.
You say that, but we've got the Pokemon Go set coming out. There may be something in those packs that you can do something in Pokemon Go with. That could be a thing.
That'd be pretty wild.
Yeah, I hadn't thought about it that way. But I could see that. I could see that happening. Should we see if anyone has a question? I've got to be up in like 5.5 hours.
Yeah, go for it. If there's any questions, I'd love to be on the other side of those. Mason said, hell yeah, printed bullets. That's right, man. Pikachu ingrained in all of them.
Favorite e-reader set?
Skyridge? Is Skyridge technically considered an e-reader set? I think it is. Maybe.
Yeah.
I would say Skyridge or Aquapolis. I mean, that art, I think they might be the same thing, just Japanese and English, but some of the best art I've ever seen on Pokemon cards ever. Like commons and uncommons, I find myself like, if I was just looking over the set, I'm just like, I can't stop looking at these arts. Like they were so good. That's what I would say.
They're fantastic. I'm trying to pull up. I don't want to have to take my headset off, so I'm trying to pull up the picture to show.
No, you're all good.
But yeah, it's Expedition for me. I'm just trying to find the Pikachu on Y. That's my favorite set. Here we go. That's like that is a cute. It's a cute little Pikachu playing in the grass, little flowers around him, and yeah, it's Expedition for me. There's quite a few cards in there that are pretty cool too.
Solid. And it's funny that HME you asked that because I'm so, and this is one thing I can't remember who it was. Someone in the Pokenomics Discord, like I was telling them, I was like, guys, I have no idea about any like new Pokemon at all. And then he was like, well, you know about whoever. And I was like, no, dude. He's like, what? He's like, what about blah, blah, blah? And I was like, no idea. I was like, it sounds like a fire one. And he was just like, he couldn't even comprehend that I didn't know who these people were or these Pokemon were. And I was just like, man, I'm telling you, like, I don't follow it because there's so much cool stuff that I like to chase from this. But I was like, I'll tell you all the original 150. So even like keeping up with sets or like who's in that, it's so hard for me because I'm just not engaged in that part of it. But
there's so many cards too. I mean, there's just so much going on. You did get a question from Basic though.
Yeah, I just saw that. Peak, if you could trade it all for one single item in the hobby of equal value, what would it be? Oh man, trade it all for one single item of equal value. Well, then I've got to like do math. Because it just depends. It's like I want to can I use the highest comps? Man, that's a tough one. I mean, probably a raw, I mean, you've heard me say this, probably a raw 99 tropical mega battle if I could get one. I see them. I've seen them posted.
Gone like a flash though. I'm guessing they're gone like a flash. They probably sell pretty quick, right?
Not as much. They just be copies that would be not worth grading. PSA 3 to 5. Like the fronts look clean, which I mean, it's so funny to even like be at a point to be like, I'm picky on this rare of a card, or not rare, but higher end of a card. But like I'd like a 7 or up. And I mean, I've had the opportunity to purchase a 7 and some other like grades, but I'd probably trade for that. Like if I could find a good deal on a 1999 tropical mega battle, tropical wind, big mouthful, that would probably be it. I would, and if I did find somebody who was like, I want every one of your cards to trade for this, which is so like not going to happen. If I did that, I would probably at that point like step away from the hobby, like for sure. I would just in collecting or buying cards, I would still engage to a certain extent, but I couldn't see myself like I would see it as an opportunity to be like, okay, I don't have to keep up with this stuff. I just want this one card now. And I've said that for a while. Like that is my like, that's the grail that I want. Like that's the one I want to have. That's the one that I can just say that exemplifies the time I was in real deep. And that's what I was able to get out of it.
So I want you to change the word in on what you just said. Instead of saying I want to have, that's the card I'm gonna have. Because if
I'll have it for sure. I definitely, and I've said that on a couple of streams. But I appreciate you keeping me in mind. I would like to have it by the end of the year. I mean,
keep that focus, because you got to think it to make it happen. You got to feel it.
I try to keep it fairly disciplined too, though, because the like I have opportunities to buy, not at outrageous prices, like private deals that are decent. Like it's market wise, it's like this is a good deal if I want to put that capital into it. But I just have to weigh it out, and I'm like, it's like I could do it, but do I really want to tie that much up into that right now with this other inventory sitting? So that's why I like that Basic, worded it that way. Like if you could trade all your stuff at that point, my investment's just being, I'm just moving it at that point. I'll have it this year. I just, if anybody's got a cheaper 7 than comps that they want to get rid of, they're ready to get out.
Not me.
I am happy to have conversations about a 99 tropical web all day.
I wish I had one for you.
It's a hell of a card, man. Very cool art.
Ancient Mew said he likes Expedition 2 and the epic Mewtwo art that's in Expedition. It's a very, very well loved card. And Sandstorm, yep, Sandstorm's a pretty fun set too.
Yeah, I try to think of like what set card is like my favorite. Because I really do. It's so hard for me to even tell you. Like as they're reading this, I'm like, the Mewtwo. Which, by the way, your name's Ancient Mew. You said the Mewtwo is the coolest card. Come on. Is there a Mew in that set? I'm kidding. I'm really not sure if I can name one, to be honest. Maybe I'd have to look at something in Skyridge, probably. Like something in that set. Like I remember seeing like a Doug Trio, I think, that looked so awesome. And I was like, how did they make this Pokemon look awesome? Like it's like 3 moles in the dirt. But I just remember like every art was so good. There's some Slowking cards. That one Slowking card from I want to say it's like one of the Neo sets or something. So he looks like it's like King Slope or Slowking. That's who it is. Where he's like standing or something. Like I remember that art was really, really cool to me as a kid. But yeah, I don't know. It's like we talked about in the beginning. The promo arts are sometimes just so legit. But
there's so many cool promo ones too. That's the other thing. It's like the amount of base cards that I love and like obsess over. I feel much more passionate about a lot of the other promo ones art wise. Like I feel a lot more passionate about a lot of the promo cards.
And I will say the modern art now is better than the vintage art. Like when it comes to set cards, like it is hands down.
The freaking cool. Crimson, it's like a $30-$40 Pikachu, and it's like on this little beach island. Just
kind of reminds me of the Melly.
Happy as Larry.
It kind of reminds me of the Melly Art Academy card. It kind of looks like that, where she drew him in like a chef's outfit. It's kind of that same kind of almost like CGI looking thing. Yeah, but the modern art now is just, it's so fantastic. I just wish they'd do something to make it stand out and be special. Not the artist, but Pokemon. Because some of these arts are like, I'm like, look at this, man. Give us an English Southern Islands. Like, give us something random like that, you know? And put these artists, like, really get them the recognition that they need instead of just being like, you know, constant TCG player bulk. You know what I mean?
I think that's why some people like hated celebrations. Like some people like really didn't like celebrations because of that. Like they thought they could have done something a little bit more epic.
I have not met them yet. I have not met. I mean, I've talked to people who've been burnt out opening celebrations, but I've never talked to anybody who's just straight up said like, I did not enjoy opening celebrations.
Discord, I've seen a lot of people say that stuff.
I don't understand it.
I loved it. Like
they're all hollows. They're all hollows. It scratches every itch. Vintage, it's hollows. You've got full arts. You've got, you know, that full art trainer, like Professor Oak, I think, which he was like writing on the card. Super cool. Like I love that stuff.
I had open eyes when I saw that. The professor research again is like leaning over. Research, and then the other one was like the full art one. Oh my god, yeah, that was cool. I really enjoyed opening every pack of celebrations, honestly. And a lot of the promos were fun too. You know, the one I just got back today in that return. Yeah, there's plenty of them.
Which one did you send off? I haven't had a chance to watch that return video yet.
It's like a spoiler alert.
Oh, actually, no, that's true. You did a return. Never mind. Well, I'll share mine. I sent off a celebrations. It was the out of the, not the ultra premium collection, but the premium collection with the gigantic Pikachu or Gigantamax Pikachu or whatever. I sent that off. It's at a PSA. It's at PSA now. So that was one of the 5 and one of the allocations I sent out. So
same.
Oh, nice. Congrats. I'll watch it after this video. So
it's a quick one. It's a quick one. Yeah. It won't take long.
Yeah. So I'm hoping it does well. I do have a very, very nice card in that allocation as well that I got an email today about an invoice from PSA that I'd already paid. And I thought it was that. And I was like, oh shit. Like, are these grades in? It's like one of the, I'm just waiting to get it back. And I so wanted to be a higher grade. It was a regrade. I cracked it. It was an 8.
Oh, okay.
Very like a few $1,000 like card. Like, and I cracked it. just to get a better one. Because I looked it over, I was like, this has got to be better than this. So I just took the pliers to it and did fine. So I'm hoping it does well.
This is why you need a YouTube, because I need to see videos like that. Prime example.
You wouldn't want to watch that video. That stuff goes everywhere. Like
they're getting it back, they're submitting it, getting it back. Like, I love that stuff.
I kept the label. I'll post a. I'll probably post a photo on my Instagram about it. But that's one that like I was gonna throw away the label. I was like, I don't want anybody to like trace this back, but I'm like, I don't care. Like, I just went the full damn route. Like, fuck the pop reports, like whatever. But if it comes back, I mean, on the very, very rare chance it comes back at 10, I will be like ecstatic. Like that, it would be so awesome if it did. And it's a Japanese card, of course. So like, they tend to do well at PSA because they're not as, prone to, the blue, and it's not an old back. It's an 05 card. So
it's the gold. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a little bit more, I don't know. There's no whitening I can find. No indents like my fun MetaZoo card that came back.
Why do you think it got the 8?
Somebody pointed out on a Facebook group that they saw a hollow line or a print line through the reverse hollow, but I was like, that this guy is kind of like we talked to you last stream. I was like, did this guy not have him and his buddy not have their coffee? Like, when does PSA drop something to a 6 for a print line? So I don't think that's what it was. It could have had a little impact, but I mean, that card is now shipped off. It's sold. So it's on its way to its new home. But I hope that I don't have a similar situation with this new one, because that's the hardest. I mean, that return was the hardest PSA's ever graded anything I've sent them. I was like really surprised. 0 10s out of it, which, everybody sends their cards off thinking they're all 10s, but jokingly, but I would have thought at least one of those would have been a 10. I don't believe in the pack fresh gem mint 10 100% of the time, obviously, but there was a few cards in there. I was like, there's no way that this card is going to get less than a 10, but yeah, nothing. Had a 6, had an 8, the rest were 9s, but yeah, I'm hoping this next one is going to be a lot better.
Yeah, a couple of 6s I got. I still can't figure out. I've analyzed them for way too long, and I can't see anything at all. So there's a couple of things I'm gonna crack and resubmit at some point. When I get back to value, they're nothing crazy, but it'd be having me like in a grade or 2 higher kind of thing.
If that $25 tier comes out, I'm sending a few things off with that, and there's gonna be a couple things that get cracked at that tier, because $50 is a lot, man. Like my other PSA submission has been there since January of 21. Well, I say that I dropped it off, like it was a middleman, but I gave it to them at like December. It arrived their place like December 20th. It's still it just got into QA2 today. Actually, I got a message about it.
Moves quick after that.
But we're 14, like that's crazy. Like we're 14 months later. But the reason I brought that up is I paid like, I can't even remember, $15 a card, $10-15 a card.
My bulk in from then went from, hang on, am I on the right one? Yeah, it went from QA2 shipped in 6 days. So you're probably right on the cusp of it in the final stage.
Dude, that will be a fun thing that I'll do a live stream to open, because I only remember one card that's in that submission, and I think there were like maybe 15, 20 or something like that. So
yeah, that will be fun.
It's been so long. I just threw them in there, and like I can guess what's in it, but I have no idea. One of those is a Mount Fuji PeekDatChu from that 97 JR stamp rally. If that comes back at 10, which I've been tracking the pop reports for a long time, I think it is, because they've only had 1 10 since then. Nice. And it was right after mine entered grading, but it would be a pop 15, which would be amazing. And that would be, it's got Jim Mint's name written all over it, because that's who I will sell it to if he's still looking for it by then, because we talked about it a little bit, and that's one of his goals to buy.
Good connection with that one. Yeah, that's a real strong one. One of those ones today from that return, I checked and it's pop 27, I think it is. when I
Nice.
double checked it, which is not too bad. I mean, it's not
It's
like
solid.
it's not the craziest card in the world, but for me, it's a pretty cool one.
It's cool to have something that you can say X amount of people have this in the world. You know, when it's a 10, you know, nines, you never know. But 10s, like, they're not regrading 10s. Like whenever I had my my 04 Tropical Wind, that top 16, that was pop 3 in 18 years.
Wow.
And I remember that was the coolest thing ever. It's just like 2 people outside of myself have this in the world. Like that was a cool feeling. And I don't pay attention to pop reports near as much as I do as far as how many, but anytime you start getting in that like under 20 for a vintage card, that's what I find that very attractive. I'm like, that's cool. Like, because there's only a certain group of people who, you know, have these, and I don't know. It's fun. It's a fun feeling, dude. It's a fun feeling to have those low pops. Like I will always be jealous of low popping on Instagram, because I think he has the funniest Instagram name ever. Like it's so great. Just low popping.
It's funny, the dynamic between that and the, you know, the thousands of Charizards from the past 2 years, like literally thousands and thousands for the past few, like 2-3 years that have been graded. Like it's just like complete opposite wavelengths. Like
strange.
So different.
I don't get it. It's hard for me to understand anything in the last like 3 years that people are spending
big bucks,
hundreds of dollars on this stuff. And I'm like, not that it doesn't deserve to be there, sure, but like, can you not find a better private deal? Like, I just don't get, like, there's like, you know, say there's like 5,000 of a card graded. It's like, you can't find somebody who's willing to do like a PayPal deal with you. You had to go to eBay. You had to buy it on there with taxes and all that other stuff that you know, spend extra with it. But you know, I mean, that's a newer collector in my mind. They don't want to deal with it. They just want to buy it, have the card, say they spent this much, and move on. But I don't think those people are necessarily in it for the long term, or they're just kind of blindly like, this is going to stonk like everything else. I don't know.
Hey, maybe one day. Give it 20 or 30 years.
That's what their brain keeps telling them. But the odds of them still having that card in 2030, maybe. I could, you know, maybe. HMU said the Celebrations was amazing. That Shining Mew is the best card in it. I think is that the Golden Mew? I think so. It's a cool card. I like the EX a little bit better, actually. I know it's not as like hard to pull, but the EX Mew is so cool. Like that silver sparkly border, something about it.
Wonderful. Yeah, I sent Basic the Black Zekrom that I pulled from it, and I thought that was that's a pretty splashy one. I think I've got 1 or 2 in the grading pile too. I thought that was a pretty cool one. I don't really have any Zekrom cards, but that one was like so different. So it's like full black, and then like you say, like the gray.
What was the white one? My buddy Drew pulled one of those when we opened those packs. I can't remember what it was. It was like an alternate art. Was that what it was? Yeah, it was like, but it was like a different version of it. It was like the whole card or something was. It's been a while since I've looked at it.
Yeah, so Zekrom was the exact opposite. It was like completely black. Yeah, it's beautiful card. Like it's real simple when you think about it, but it's just so different to stuff they want to do. You know, and part of why Ancient Mew did so well, you know, back in the day with, you know, with the movies, like people were so popular over it because it was so
weird,
so different. Yeah, so.
Which do we know who the artist was for that? Because it's not on the card.
Nintendo.
I don't think. Wouldn't that be great if like Nintendo is just like the surname for the artist, the one-off card? He did one card in the whole hobby, and he's like, I'm gonna sign this. They were like, no, he's misspelled Nintendo. That's great. No, I can't remember if it's like one of those mystery things, like we don't know who the artist was for that card, or they never stepped forward or something. I would think that they would have found out who it is, but I don't think that is actually on the card.
No, I don't think it. I've got one behind me, but I probably couldn't read it anyway. I don't have my glasses.
No, it's all good. Actually, we went 30 minutes over, man. I appreciate you seriously like letting me come on, talk shop. I love this.
I'm the thankful one. Trust me. I'm glad you came on, spend that time. I know you've got a lot going on, and like I say, we've got families and stuff. So yeah, I appreciate the time. I've enjoyed it. Hopefully we can do it again, and I look forward to seeing you in the chats. It's always fun seeing there and interacting, just like everybody else. It's a blast. So yeah, thank you.
I'm there. You'll usually see it. So I appreciate everybody in the chat too. You guys are having a bunch of good conversations, so that's always fun. But yeah, what?
I was gonna say I never do this, but guys, will you please hit the like button for me? Let's get a few likes.
But what should they do to it? You're a Pikachu guy. Thundershock that like button.
Thunderbolt it. Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, thunderbolt that like button.
Boom, we just got an extra like. That perfect.
There we go. That is one thing I don't understand people don't do. It takes like 2 seconds. Like I like way too many videos. Like YouTube knows everything I enjoy.
So many.
I still press the dislike button. It's like I don't press it as much as I used to, but I like go out of my way to let these people know like I hate your video, but not you. But anyway, yeah, dude, I still appreciate.
Trust me, I get them.
Do you really?
Yes.
That's unfortunate.
Everybody does. Yeah, not a lot, but we get them.
But yeah, I was just gonna say, so appreciate you. I love having these chats and like look forward to doing it in the future. And yeah, anyone else who ever wants to talk hobby, just message me. I'm on Instagram, PeekDatChu again, in the Discord with the Patreon guys. So that's something that
links in the description.
Oh, there you go. You're a pro now.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you're in Pokenomics, Patreon, which I would highly, highly, highly recommend people do. I know people hear me shill this all the time. I am not at all part of their whole setup. I'm just a member of it, but very, very fun community, very, very engaged people. I'm sure most of the people in this chat are probably in that now. But that's a fun spot. If you jump in there, say what's up. I will talk shop with pretty much any of you guys. We have our fun 3-4 a.m. voice chats, which always go like longer than this. So, and Basic Trader, get in the Patreon, man. I'm just going to throw that out there at the end too. We need you.
Get in there.
But
all right, let's wrap it up. That was a good one. I'll see you later, guys. See you, PeekDat.
Take it easy, guys. Take it easy.
See ya.